automatically off of OBS, but YouTube, you actually have to click go live. All right. Welcome to the Day of Dragons developer live stream. I am the lead developer for Day of Dragons, Super Rhino, and thank you for your patience and bearing with us. We're trying something new today. Since now we have a social media marketer, I'm teaching Fal Marley how to stream on our YouTube channel. So we got OBS set up and everything was working. Right at 5:45, she clicked stream, and YouTube's a little different than Twitch. In Twitch, you just click, start stream in OBS, and then it automatically starts working. But in YouTube, there's one extra step. You have to click go live. And so she shared her screen in Discord, and then I helped her figure that out. So here we are starting the stream. And thank you, Marley. I know your microphone's muted, but say something. Thank you. So hopefully going forward, this will mean that the streams will be better because I'm not multitasking between OBS and my browser and Discord and the chat role on YouTube. And so, well, we're doing this developer Q&A because a lot of people have a lot of questions, and I want to go ahead and let people give people a chance to ask their questions, and then here they are on YouTube. That way people can listen to this later. But as you know, we all have changed our Trello and our development roadmap, and what was going to be 1.3 got pushed back to 1.4, and what was going to be 1.4 got brought up to 1.3. And one of the main reasons we did that was because PvP needs a lot of TLC. It's tender loving care, because we had a lot of issues where players would grow a dragon for 2-3 hours, 4 hours, and then just get one-shotted by an A++ or A+ max stat elder dragon. And so those 2 to 4 hours of grow would be gone in just one click. And that's not fun. And so I had to do something. And so I made some changes to the way health and armor work in the game. And that's was the last patch. And then 1.3, we're going to be doing a lot more work on PvP to make it a lot funner and a lot less punishing for new players. And one of the things that we need for us to be able to do everything I want to do with PvP is we need a healer class. And so we couldn't wait for the healer class for 1.4. It needed to be done ASAP. So Sinchcrest got pushed up to the 1.3 patch. Skin crafting, which has been anticipated for a very long time, got moved back to 1.4. And skin crafting, it's cool, but it doesn't fix PvP. And so I think it's a good trade-off. So that said, we're going to take questions. We're going to close this down probably around just before 7:30. So that said, if you have a question, the best way to make sure that I see it is to click at Beawesome Games in the chat, and then it'll be like red or something, and then I'll see it. So I see some people saying that PvP is not in a good state right now, and I know that, but survivability is a lot better now than it was. I know the time to kill is a lot less and lower than it was before. There's some unbalanced classes that I'm going to address. But let's start taking some questions here. Let's see. Jezo Bello asked, how many eggs will the Singe Crest have? The Singe Crest will have 2 eggs in their nest. 2 eggs, because a lot of raptors have 2 eggs, and so we kind of are basing it off of that and giving them just 2. AEMJ wants to know if, or Gremlin wanted to know if you're still thinking about letting Zagobos nest the eggs they steal. I have never, to my knowledge, ever said that Zagobos would be able to nest their eggs that they steal. And if I ever did, I don't remember it. But usually Zagobos, they steal eggs to eat them, or just to be a pest. But I think I did say that maybe Zagobos could take an egg out of somebody's nest and then deposit it into a nest of the same species, so that you could like take somebody's high statted eggs. But that was just a maybe. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. Brood watchers can take eggs out of nests, and yeah, so I might have said that a long time ago, but I don't know if I want to do something like that. But they'll definitely be able to take eggs and eat them. Let's see. Ruan Klassen wants to know, will ironhide grazers be added since new AI to eat and hunt for pearls? Armor is great. Please fix mushrooms. Yes, ironhide grazers are coming in 1.3, along with other AI, like fish. And I'm glad you like the armor. Mushrooms will get fixed in 1.3. Actually, all food is going to be reworked in a way to where, like, let me explain food and why food broke in this last patch. Food has always been based on the total health of the dragon. So I use mass and health are interchangeable. So your mass is your health points. So I would look at, okay, if your health points is this, what is the maximum amount of food that you should get when you take a bite of a mushroom, based on your health? And when so it was a percent. And so when I increased health across the board, that percent got a whole lot smaller. So 10% of 500 is 50, but 10% of 1,000, 10% of 1,000 is 100, 10% of 500 is 50. But the scale, it was range based. Like, I used a map range function, and basically the higher the health got, the lower the amount of food you got when you take a bite. So that's how it broke. So it's now going to be class based. So going into 1.3, I'm going to look at the class of your dragon, not the mass of your dragon. And so a mushroom will give max food to like a class 1 dragon, and it will give the least amount of food to a class 8 dragon. So I'm going to make it class based. And then Elder adds 1+1 to the class. Baby is like -2. Juvie's -1. So a class 1 dragon that's a baby will get the most food you get from a mushroom. And it doesn't matter what dragon you're playing. We had lots of multiple class ones. Every class 1 baby would get the same amount of food. Every class 5 adult would get the same amount of food. So it's no longer based on your health pool. It's based on your class size. So I didn't have time to get that all done in the last patch. It's coming in update 1.3. Let's see. Pixel Rose asked, do you think or ever thought of adding swimming, sprinting in the near future? Swim sprinting. Yes, I do plan on adding swim sprinting. It's currently scheduled for when I bring in aquatic dragons. I did bring in some cool little updates to the acid spitter for semi-aquatic dragons that were going to come in the aquatic update, but I brought them in early because the acid spitter needed it. Acid spitter needed a lot of TLC, and it got a lot of TLC in this last patch. And just want to make sure you guys y'all can still hear me. Just someone out there tell me you can still hear me. Just want to make sure. All right. All right, good. I was like, oh no, I hope I'm not talking and nobody could hear me. All right. Let's see. Where did I leave off here? Adam Wills. Well, Adam Wills asked, you mentioned earlier the Dunes map you made was designed specifically for PvP. Can you explain what you did with the map to tailor it to the PvP experience, please? So, the Dunes map that's going to be coming in 1.3 is a PvP map. Um, the oasis are spread out. There's multiple oases. I don't know. There's multiple spread out around the edges of the map. So, um, they're kind of all around the edges. And then the center of the map has mountains like I wouldn't say the centers. Okay, so pretend the map is a donut. Okay, the middle of the donut is a very dangerous area, and only the bravest and strongest clans will want to go to the middle of the donut. Most clans are going to stay on the outside of the donut where there's plenty of water, and easy to kill AI for growing your hatchlings. Those that go towards the middle of the donut, they're going to have a fight on their hands because AI, right? You guys all know what's in the dangerous dunes. I'm not kidding anybody. But the dangerous dunes, when fantasy servers come in, everybody is going to spawn in the Forgotten Forests. So it doesn't matter if you're a PvP or PvEer, you will spawn in the Forgotten Forests as a fresh spawn. If you get nested into the dunes, then you're nested in the dunes. But every fresh spawn starts in the PvE Forgotten Forest, and that's going to be true going forward, even when the Soaring Seas, Winter Winds, and Lava Lands come in. So you can grow in the Forgotten Forest if you want to, or you can venture on, jump in a portal, and head to the dangerous dunes. So there's going to be oases. Each oasis is going to be different. There's going to be, clans you're going to want to claim, certain oases. So they're going to be distributed, but some locations might be more strategic than others for different reasons. But separating there's going to be some, what do you want to call them, rock formations um, that are going to kind of be on the outside of the donut. Um, the Once you get towards the center, that's when things get really dangerous. So if you're wanting to go attack another clan's, you know, place, then your safest way is to go around the donut. But that's also going to make you go through other clans' territories. Um, if you go across the dunes, that's really, you're gonna have to fly really high because it's pretty dangerous to cross close to the ground. So that's about all I want to give away about that for now. But there's going to be other things coming in. In the fantasy server, you guys already know about the meteors that are going to be falling from Narak, which is the moon of Trakan, and those are going to be something that only fall in the middle of the donut, and everybody's going to want to go get them because of what is in them. And so that's going to push a lot of PvPers fighting over these drops. And so it's going to be fun. Let's see. So the murder drone, asked, how hungry will behemoths get? Is it like broods but slightly tuned up? It's not like broods at all. It's really bad. Like, it's going to be really, really hard to grow a behemoth. Really hard. You're going to need help. You're going to need, when you're young, you're going to be really slow, and you're not going to be able to live off of scraps. They ain't going to give you enough food. You're going to have to. You're going to need help. They're designed to be grown in a clan, not to be soloed. They're basically a juggernaut. You know, they're very, very strong and powerful, but their food drain is insane. Let's see. Vector and Crash wants to know: will Singecrest be releasing around August to September? It will release when it's done. I'm I know I can tell you this: it's definitely going to be out this year. Um, that's why I moved it up, because if I would have pushed for 1.3 skin crafting, I don't know if I'd have been able to get Singecrest out this year. But by pushing Singecrest to 1.3, then I can, confidently say that I'll have that in the game this year. A lot of the work is already done on it. I have to do the fishing. I have to do the special abilities. But that stuff isn't going to take me a lot of time. It's, the Broodwatcher had the most difficult special ability that I've ever done in Day of Dragons. That's because it's so interconnected to all these other systems in the game. So Broodwatcher took me a lot of time to do the special ability on. But Singe is healing, and I'll have that done, like in a week, if that. It's not going to take me long at all. But his healing is actually, it's been in the game for a long time. Admins can heal by a click of a button. You heal just by resting. So healing's already in the game. I just have to hook it all up to the Singecrest dance Q ability, and you know, dance cue. Let's see, where was I? Um, Carte Lisa. Ter- I can't. Some of these names are I don't even know how you pronounce them. So I'm just going to say Carti, Cartalisa. I think. Is there going to be light changes? It's like at medium light, caves too dark, and at night it's so painful for the eyes. Run and see the moon. We are going to continue to work on making the game look better and run better. I can't really give you an update. I don't think we're going to touch lighting in 1.3, but one thing I'd really like to do is hire a environmental artist who's like environmental lighting, and can really come in and touch up our lighting and our fog and all that kind of stuff, and make the environment look, uh, the lighting and the fog look really good. So hopefully we'll be able to do that at some point, but budget. All right. Rage Just Plays wants to know if this is able to be told how will elementals work, like how will they function and be played. Well, elementals are going to be their own faction, um, and the idea that I've toyed with the idea of players being able to just select elemental and spawn as an elemental. And I've also, the idea currently is that to play an elemental, you have to um, exchange an elder dragon for an elemental. So, that seems like a fair trade-off, because if you play the game long enough, but then some people are going to just elder an acid spitter or whatever's the easiest thing to elder, and then use that. So I got to try to keep that in mind too, because people are just going to use their acid spitter elders. And then there's other people that probably just want to play elementals, and so I'm, I, that that's not 100% decided yet. So I still have a lot to think about and plan for with the elemental classes. But we, if you've seen the meteor concepts, one thing we're going to be doing is when you spawn as an elemental, of course you're not going to hatch in an egg, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to fall from the sky in a meteor, and when the meteor crashes in the ground, you're going to wake up out of the meteor and you're going to spawn. Uh, so that's how you're going to have like this thing. When you spawn, you're going to crash to the ground in a meteor. Um, and another cool thing is like those meteors. Like when you're as an elemental, you'll be able to transform yourself into the meteor, because you are the meteor. So you can transform back into a meteor, and um, what that's going to do is players, once they find out what's in the meteors, I call them meteors, they're meteors from Narok. Once players find out what's in them, they're going to want to go after anyone they find, and so elementals are going to be able to ambush players by doing that. Fake them out. Players will think that they're a loot drop, and they're not. So surprise, ambush. So it's going to be it's going to make for some really really fun PvP, I think. All right, next up is we got Moffin wants to know, will adding a single player offline game mode be considered? I have considered it, um, and it's still in consideration, but at this time, I'm just working on the multiplayer game, because I have so much to do for multiplayer that I don't have time to work on a single player game. Um, I got a lot of promised content that has to come in the game. The Kickstarters, you know, are still waiting on their stretch goal dragons for the multiplayer game. I got a lot that I got to get done before I consider working on a single player Day of Dragons. Let's see, Void Marsh. Is there any way you can drop a hot fix for the food values before 1.4? It's painful having to eat 4 bugs on hatch at 50% hunger, or 10 mushrooms on a juvie. No, I can't. I've already versioned to 1.3, and I can't undo what I've done without introducing broken things into the current game, and we definitely don't want to do that. So, unfortunately, players are just going to have to wait until 1.3 for the fixes or the food rebalancing. Let's see, Vector and Crash wants to know, will there be any improvements for Broodwatcher mutation checking? Like maybe when you reach Elder, you can maybe pick up 3 eggs if you're Dom or any other things. No, Broods will only ever be able to do 2 eggs, not 3. And I'm not really sure what other things we can do to make their brooding better, but if things do happen, like if I hear some good suggestions, I'll consider it. But right now, I think they're in a pretty good spot. They're great for quickly statting up to the A range, and once you're at A, they're still useful for people because they can check for mutations. So I didn't want brood watchers to take over nesting and become the new nesting meta. I just wanted them to complement nesting and be a shortcut for it, and while also doing what I said they would do back in the original Kickstarter, and I think I accomplished that. Let's see. Xiastys wants to know when Singecrest will appear. Would it be end of summer or it happens earlier? It will happen either in Q3 or Q4 of 2026. So we're already in Q3. So it will happen anywhere from, it's not going to be July. So at the earliest it would be August, and at the latest December. And I don't think it's going to be December, so probably between August and November. Let's see, Black Wolf wants to know, are there going to be map changes and future updates that fix the Elder Crystals not accessible currently to acid splitters? I believe that Echo has already got rid of all the crystals that were not accessible to acid splitter, and that's coming in the 1.3 update. I think he moved them. He didn't get rid of them, he moved them. Let's see, Lost Plays wants to know, what are you most looking forward to with the Singecrest? Another dragon. It's another Kickstarter dragon, and I'm just checking these Kickstarter dragons off, because got the Singecrest, the Zagovo, the hybrid, and the Icehorn, and once all 4 of those are in, then all Kickstarter stretch goals are in the game, and nobody can say, they never put all this promised content in the game yet. After that, all I got left to do is the Dark Elemental skin for the Elementals, which is already done. It's just the Elementals aren't in the game yet. So once they come in, the skin's already done. So, and for that matter, all the Kickstarter dragons are already done. they're just waiting on integration, which is a me thing. So anybody says that, the Kickstarter stuff, we didn't keep our promises, they're wrong. Let's see. Fizzy Lizard also wants to know when will 1.3 and come out. And Q3, Q4, 2026. Let's see. Hayes wants to know what combat changes were you thinking of in terms of the next upcoming update? Just curious, since there are some much needed changes with FS and Brood needing buffs and ASD nerfs. I'm gonna look at damage values for all the dragons and time to kill, which I didn't, with armor and health adjustments, I didn't have time to rebalance their damage output so that the time to kill, is where I want them to be. And so I'm going to be doing a lot of. I'm not going to change the health values because I like the new health values, but I am going to change the damage values and possibly mitigations. But the FS was king for quite a long time. It's okay if the acid spitter is at the top for a little while, right? All the acid spitter players that were getting one shots to, flame stalker, fire breath, and shadow scale, plasma blast, are probably enjoying themselves right now, and it's well deserved. They're at the bottom of the food chain for a long time. It's okay for them to be up the top for a little bit. All right, Ruan Klassen. Oh, that's not a question. Ashley F. Wing wants to know, you've spent so much time on 1.4 already. How long do you think it will take to release after 1.3? I really don't know. I would say 1 to 2 months, maybe, if everything works out. And when people ask me these questions and then I give like a time frame, I'm always giving you the best case scenario, but a lot of times we get the worst case scenario. We could have some kind of issue, with hackers, and I gotta patch a hack, or we got some kind of dupe exploit, and I have to patch that, or there's some other game breaking issue that I have to address, or something happens to a developer that's working on that, and health issues, or a tragedy in the family, or any number of things, and all those types of things, they change that best case scenario to a worst case scenario, and then what was planned to be 2 months is now 4 or 6 months. So it's hard for me to answer those questions. But as soon as I get them done, they come in the game. I can tell you that much. Void Marsh wants to know, why is this not something you can fix ASAP? Because you have to test. Things have to be tested, and you can't ASAP test. We've tried ASAP testing, and it just doesn't work. Gusting Grimoire wants to know, do you have any estimation for which update we can expect faction PvP? Will it only take effect on the dangerous dunes? Faction PvP will be coming later. I don't know what update it's coming, but it won't take place just in the dangerous dunes. You'll have faction PvP happening in the Winter Winds, the Soaring Seas, the Lava Lands, and the dangerous dunes. The only place where PvP won't take place is the Forgotten Forest. That will continue to be a PvE peace area that is PvP optional. Like, you have to flag yourself for PvP to fight in Forgotten Forest, like right now. Amethyst Gamer, thank you for having a name that I can pronounce. Wants to know, so how far developed is the Singe Crest? The Singe Crest looks awesome, by the way. It's pretty far along. You know, the NDA testers are enjoying it right now, and we're working out bugs, getting the sounds, really polished, and making sure that everything is Beawesome. Rescue Lynn would like to know. Oh wait, this is not a question. She said, "This is not a question, but I am so stoked that my elder Shadow Scale can legit carry a snapper to its friends now. I am on Shadow Scale more than anything else, and I'm super happy about that change." Thank you. Well, you're welcome. And the reason why that got changed was because I upped the maximum weight that dragons can carry. So, oh boy, I just lost my place. Where was I? Okay. Oh, there is a lot of questions here. I'm just going down the list also. I guess I just want to try to get to all these questions. HRH Arctic wants to know, do you want to do something about the inactive players and clans who can't be removed? I will address that in an update. I don't know which update, but I have it on my list of things to fix, to where you can remove unknown players and actually know who the unknown players are. Crimson Starfall wants to know, will you ever reconsider how the brood bushes grow? People leave them half-eaten, one bite, and they don't regrow again until fully eaten. It's also a problem. It was better before. I mean, maybe I'll reconsider it. Before people would still kind of do stuff like that. They would take a bite or take it down all the way, and there's some issue people were complaining about with brood bushes. Maybe somebody can help me there, but it's not coming to me. But I kind of like the way they are now. Like, if you want it to regrow, you got to eat it, eat the whole thing. Do I plan on adding a UI system for pearl trading? That'd be a cool idea. I've thought about it. I kind of like the natural way that you trade right now with the, puking up your pearls, but maybe we'll do a secure trade UI later. It'll be less realistic, but it's more secure. I know people steal pearls. Am I tired? Not so much today. I was really tired yesterday because I was mowing all day. And 90-degree weather. Ugh. That's Fahrenheit. Let's see. Haze. I think I already. Did I already? I can't remember if I already answered one of your questions, but I'll answer this one. Also, any chance of nerfing momentum or nerfing the dives usage in PvP? More so diving back up the momentum. I have to look at dive. I know some players are complaining about it in PvP, but everybody in PvE is having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I'll look at it. It's probably overtuned right now. I had it tuned really good, and then people are like, "Can you make this the momentum last longer, so that when you dive, you just keep that speed going. And I was like, yeah, it sounds like a kind of cool idea. I think I can do that. And so I did it, and people, oh, this is so fun. And then when I pushed the patch live, everybody was like, this breaks PvP. I can't hit anybody. They're too fast now. So I wish people would have caught that in the open test, before I pushed it to PvP. When we have open testing, we really need folks to open test. Let's see. Black Wolf wants to know any plans to allow brood watchers to carry pieces of bushes for their babies. It's unfair that broods can't, all other dragons can. I have to talk to Bad Parrot about that. I don't know of any herbivores in nature that regurgitate food for their babies, especially when the broodwatcher baby can graze on grass, which is pretty much everywhere on the map. So, the carnivore dragons, they can't do that. So it's kind of a trade-off. Ash Leafwing wants to know, why wouldn't you have ice dragons spawn in ice biomes and flame stalkers in lava lands? That's a good question. The issue is that people that play PvE don't want to spawn in a PvP area. So let's say Flamestalkers spawn in the lava lands and Inferno Ravagers spawn in the Dangerous Dunes. That was the original plan years ago. Okay, so anyone that wants to play an Inferno Ravager now has to spawn in a PvP area where they might never get the chance to grow up. And anyone who wants to play Flamestalker has to spawn in a DVE area where they might get killed by an elemental. Whereas anyone who wants to play Shadow Scale gets to spawn in a safe PvE area. So to make the game fair, I had to change it so everybody spawns now in Forgotten Forest in a fantasy map. Let's see. Noted now wants to know, will you improve the NPC's AI? Yes. It's improvements coming in 1.3. All right, and then Ron wants Marley to play. She's playing in live right now. She's not playing on the NDA server, so she can't play Singe Crest online. We aren't streaming the NDA server because there's stuff on there that is NDA, and we don't want it leaking out. Let's see. Gusting wants to know if this video will be saved later. Yes, saved. Saving the chats. Black Lupina is asking regarding the Fireclaw, though it's still in development, will it have any different flame types from others like IRFS? It will definitely have fire breath. And it will possibly have fire claws, like where it can like breathe on its claws and set its claws on fire. And so that the claws, when it does a claw swipe, it causes burn. So that's an idea for that. Nothing's concrete though. It's just in my my notes. Witchy Lizzie wants to know, when can we expect the hybrid? I would probably guesstimate that the hybrid is coming next year in 2027. Let's see. Lost Play wants to know, are you considering more features for player-owned servers, things server owners can mess with to make each server unique? Always. You know, I definitely try to cater to private server owners and give them plenty of options to make their servers unique. Um, and the list we have is probably going to keep growing as we continue to develop the game. Nailu would like to know, will we ever be able to move our Patreon rewards to another account again? That is a good question. Let me think. There was an issue where when a player, because we were doing this as a courtesy, we had patrons that said, "Hey, I put my rewards on the wrong account. Can you move them?" So we did, and then we had patrons that say, "Hey, would you move my rewards to my other dragon? I'd like them moved over." And so we were like, "Yeah, sure." We want to make the customer happy, and then we started having issues where, and I told Bad Parrot, I said that's a lot of work, but if you're okay with it, and you want to do it, she said, I just want to make our patrons happy. And so she's been great at managing our Patreon. She goes way out of her way for you guys and does more work than she's required to make you guys happy. And an issue that came up was that Patreon rewards, when we would move them to a new account, they would stay on the old account and they'd be on the new account. So now they got duplicated. And I put a fix in, at least I thought it was a fix. And then I found out that the fix don't work. And I looked it over and I'm scratching my head saying this should have worked. So there's some other issue that is causing Patreon rewards to duplicate when we transfer them to another account. We take them off the old account, put them on the new account at the patron's request. And for some reason right now, they're staying on the old account. And so you're getting duplicated rewards. And I told Parrot, I said, until I can figure out what's going on and I have the time to look into it and fix it, we're going to put that on pause for right now. So will it come back eventually? Hopefully. Yes, if I can get it fixed. But until then, it's on pause. Any plans to respec your already elder, like a quest or one-time pearl? Asks Gizobilo. That is, we've had people ask about respec before. I'm open to the option in the future. I just got to figure out how I'd want to allow that to happen. Maybe, like you said, a quest, maybe a pearl, maybe just a one-time thing. I don't know. I don't know how I'd allow that to happen. I want mutation points to be, something you need to be careful with when you're specking, not something that, oh, I'm nesting today, so I'm switching all my points over to the breeding tree, and then tomorrow I'm going to be doing combat, so I'm going fast, or movement or survival trees. And then when I go back to nesting, I'm respecing again, because I don't want people to do that. I want your decisions to be lasting, But I do understand also that sometimes people make mistakes and they're like, well, I thought I wanted this, but now that I've had it, then, I'd like to change it. So I don't know, maybe a one-time respec that you get when you hit Elder. I don't know. I'll think about it. Sirius Luna wants to know if the Lime region, I think you mean the northwest area of the map, will have something in the future. It might have something in 1.3. That we're going to start testing the new 1.3 map in the NDA server here pretty soon. So we'll see what Echo has in store. Have you considered increasing the attack ranges on all dragons, and have you considered increasing the projectile speed to help with accuracy on physics-based flight? I have not considered increasing the attack ranges on all dragons. I understand that a lot of PvPers are not happy with the hit detection in flight, and I am going to be looking at that again. I don't know if it'll be 1.3.0, but I will be looking at it. It's on my list. Let's see. Rescue Land wants to know. We all saw the sneaky Segovo in your picture of the Singe Crest. What's he up to? All the dragons are in. All the dragons are in the game. Like you've all seen them in the winter event. I think the only dragons that aren't in the game are the ones we haven't publicly announced yet. And somebody in our NDA server was posing with a Zagovo. So let's see. Yuki Vang asked, are there plans to add a lot more snapper spawns in Forgotten Forests? Several of the western small water sources are bigger and deeper, which would be cool areas for snapper spawns. So, Yuki, we are probably going to be putting a lot of fish in those lakes for fishing. And there's a reason that we don't have snappers in every water body on the map. We want to add other types of AI. There's probably going to be water bodies that have fish and snappers in them. There's going to be water bodies that only have fish. There's going to be water bodies like the swamp that only have snappers. And there might be some other things coming in these water bodies too in the future. But the reason why I don't have snappers all over the map is because we already have plans for bringing other AI into the map. For instance, those big grassy plains in the southeast and up in the north central area, that's where you're going to find the ironhide grazers. The snowy mountains, we're going to add some AI up there into the snowy mountains. The water bodies, we got fish coming for those. So there are going to be more AI on the map. A troublesome duck would like to know if I plan on adding UI for crystal trading. I think somebody asked that earlier about a UI for trading UI, and I might in the future because I know it's more secure. It wouldn't be really hard to implement. But I liked the idea of natural, realistic trading, where you actually have to cough up the pearl and, trade with another player. So we'll see how that goes. And if it becomes such an issue that we have to do a secure trade, then, I will. Moffin wants to know if there will be any improvement to the chat, like custom tabs that combine multiple chats or private messages like whispers or like in-game translator. In-game translator. I don't even know how I would do an in-game translator outside of AI, which I'm not going to use AI. But I do want to do some improvements to chat eventually. some people want a trade channel. A lot of people want whispers, and those are all. We do have admin whispers now, and the admins. I was, our admin team was like, we need whispers. We need to be able to whisper to people. So I did add a admin whisper. But probably the next chat change that I do is going to be a block feature. I want to allow players to be able to block other players, because there's a lot of times where there's somebody saying stuff in chat and trolling, griefing, whatever, and players have to put up with it until an admin can respond. And I want to give players the power to put someone on the block list or a mute list, so that they don't have to hear or read what that person's saying anymore. So, and that block, if they're blocked, it'll also prevent them from being able to send you a group invite, or that's a feature that is on my list for sure. And the next time I do a chat update, that will be in. But I'm not working on chat at the moment. I'm working on the Singe Crest. But definitely coming. Definitely coming. A block feature, mute feature. Squirrel. Squirrel. Can't. Tabster. Squirrel Tabster wants to know: Will we still be getting skin crafting in the Mimicore by the end of 2026? I don't know if skin crafting is going to be coming in 2026 or not. It might. It might not. It just depends how how well things go, how quickly I can get all the 1.3 stuff in. Because 1.3, I was going to do fantasy servers. With 1.3, I was going to do fantasy servers. I was going to do the Tales of Dragons lore book. I was going to put in the new map update, and then skin crafting, and then taming and pets. Taming, pets, skin crafting, and the Tales of Dragons lore book are probably all being pushed back to 1.4. The Forgotten Forest map update is still coming in 1.3. Singe Crest is now coming in 1.3. Fishing is coming in 1.3. So, whenever I get the time to be able to do those, I don't know when I'm going to be done with Singe Crest, so I can't tell you if I'm going to have enough time, because I still have to get the new winter event quest in for December. Where you're going to meet the king. Raylan's the Dragon King, and there's going to be a new quest where you'll get the bow emote, and so I know a lot of players are going to be wanting to do that, and all the other. So I gotta work on writing that quest, and I need to make sure that I have at least the month of November to do that. So you're talking, July, August, September, October. I got 4 months to get in 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5, and probably not going to happen. All right. Just trying to drink some water here. And I end up choking on it. All right. Let's see. The next one is from Bob's Dropster. Although the nosedive is fun, it does ruin PvP equally as much as the new health and armor pools. We're going to rework that. As I've already answered, yes. Beawesome Games, can the color of your dragon's eyes be changed in skin crafting? Asks Lightning Toast. So, in the 1.3, or not 1.3 anymore, it's 1.4 skin crafting update, it's coming. You will be able to change your dragon's eye color through inheritance. So, eye colors are actually being tracked right now in 1.2, but the eye color gene is not expressing itself, and it won't until 1.4. It was, it's coming in skin grafting is where eye color expression is, but it's already being tracked. So it's already being tracked in offspring, and you'll be able to inherit eye color from either parents. Um, so players will have fun with that as well. Oh boy, I just lost my spot again. When I scroll, it goes all the way down to the bottom. Okay, I found it. Okay, Leica Nima wants to know, when can we do the emote while flying? We're working on those right now, so it might come in a 1.3 point something patch. But we're working on emotes that work while you're flying. The reason why you can't do a lot of emotes while you're flying is because, well, some of them it doesn't make any sense, like the courtship emote. But other emotes, there was too much body movement, and so when I try to blend them with the flight animations, it kind of just breaks the neck. And so, I just said, nope, can't do that until we can make emotes that are, animated just for the flight pose and the sit pose and the rest pose. So we got animations that are being, Carly's working on those right now. Well, right now she's off, but she was working on those this week. ZSD wants to know, will you release fish and healers and what we should expect from the fishing mechanic? Will it act like real bird fishing, or will it be something new for the dragon that you fished? So, Singe Crest fishing is going to be unique. Singe Crest will be able to fly over water, and they'll be able to kind of dive into the water and grab fish and fly out. Other dragons that can catch fish will, it's kind of like a mini game. So you'll see fish schooling in the water, and it'll be like splashes or something that kind of show you there's fish there. And so you go over to the shoreline where you see this, and there'll be a little mini game. You'll see this little spinner, and if you click it at the right time, you'll be able to dive your head into the water, grab a fish, come out with a fish in your mouth. And so that's actually, everybody's going to have to do it if you want the Singe Crest, because that's how you unlock the Singe Crest. Singe Crest will give you a quest. You'll have to go fishing to catch some fish for the quest, and then you unlock your Singe Crest after you complete the quest. Ozai Primal Earth would like to know, have you considered adding injury into the game? This may be a useful feature that helps strengthen higher tier dragons, FSIR, Broodwatcher, etc. We have thought of it. It's something we've talked about. I don't know if it will come in or not. I know other games have, like Broken Bone, and then you walk with the limp and all that stuff. We might do that But it's very OP. Like when it happens, like Broodwatcher swings its tail and breaks your leg, you're dead. There's so why not just remove your health because all you're doing is delaying the inevitable. And then the Broodwatcher can toy with you before he kills you because you can't outrun him, you can't fly away, your bones are broken, you're just gimping along, waiting for him to kill you. So I just haven't added it because it's I don't see the point. Let's see. Cody Lyon would like to know, will hybrid eggs look different from the rest of the eggs in the nest? Hybrid eggs are black. It's black scaled eggs. They do look different. Adam wants to know, since the Shadow Scale has been nerfed several times and is still the best combat dragon in the air, has any thought been given to changing its core design so it's easier to balance? I like its core design a lot. Um, I try not to nerf unless I have to. I've always had the philosophy, if something feels really good and people really enjoy it, instead of nerfing it, why not just make other things, bring everything else up to par instead of nerfing the thing that everybody enjoys? That way they enjoy playing everything else too. So that's kind of my philosophy. And the one nerf that it did get, where it has damage fall off now after 50 meters, that was definitely needed. And I think even the players that main Shadow Scale were happy with that. Even they agreed it needed that. Ellen Naker would like to know, do you have any open position in your team to work in your game? Any illustration, concept art related? We have three concept artists on the team. That's probably the one position where we are very well covered in, and probably the position we have the least need in. So not at this time, because we got uh, Hal, who is a 3D illustrator. We got Carta, who's a 2D concept artist and illustrator, and then we got Satali, who is our comic artist, UI artist, and yeah, we're pretty we're pretty well covered in the art department. But you know, if we do have openings, we'll post them. Let's see. Coma SOC wants to know, are there plans to bring back the Thornback Mounds in the near future update? Uh, we will be bringing them back. Um, I just got to find where I want to put them because they're made for the lava lands. Um, they're so small that the reason I took them out of the Forgotten Forest was because everyone complained that they were extremely hard to see in the grass. Like you just couldn't see them, and people would be looking and looking and looking for them, and they'd walk right by them and never see them. And you don't have any grass in the lava lands, so you can have them there, and you don't have no problems. But in the Forgotten Forest, there's grass everywhere, so that's why they're not there. Let's see. Bublio. Oh, that's okay. You can spell my name wrong. It's fine. Ashley Wing wants to know, are you saying that people who own fantasy servers won't get to choose their settings? RP server I'm on wants the fantasy option of the maps, but we are completely PvP. No, fantasy servers will have options just like survival servers. Yeah, maybe I misunderstood your question, but if you like playing RP, you can play RP on a fantasy server too. Gusting wants to know how will factions and clans integrate. Will clans be disabled in faction PvP? I know it's been a while since my last question. By the time you read this, how will factions and clans integrate? Will clans be disabled in faction PvP? So, elementals cannot be in a clan. Um, they can group up with other elementals, but there is no clan functionality for elementals. And there's no global chat for elementals, so they can't talk in global chat. They're very, very powerful. And I know players are going to use Discord and stuff like that, but you can't global chat. You can local chat with other elementals, but there's no clan chat. You can group chat and local chat, and that's it. Mickey Mouse wants to know if there's any news on skin crafting and how it will work. Skin crafting got moved to update 1.4. So at the earliest, you would see it at the end of this year. At the latest, you would see it sometime Q1, Q2 next year. Oh, okay. So Ashleaf wants to know if PvP can be enabled for the entire server in fantasy, not just specific maps. That's something I could do through the config options, but current for the official servers, it's going to be the way it is. But I can look into, adding a config option for private servers. Can my clan be on two separate factions, Dragon v Wyverns? Will we fight each other? Okay, so Dragon's Wyvern faction is not. We don't have like Dragon versus Wyvern faction PvP. When I say faction PvP, I'm talking about elementals and dragons, dragon versus elemental. But one of the ideas that we had for fantasy mode is, and we're still thinking about this, so it's not set in stone, is that in PvP you could join, you could either become a loyalist to Drakan or you could become a loyalist to Braylon, and then PvP would become a faction warfare type thing between dragons. But I'm not sure if we're going to go with that yet. I don't know if players would actually want that type of faction PvP or not. They might just want the elemental dragon versus elemental, because PvPers, they kind of like the clan v clan PvP, and then we want to bring alliances in. So one thing, if you add like faction PvP, you might have one faction that has 4 clans and another faction that has 10 clans. So now you have very unbalanced faction PvP. So to do something like that, it has to be done right, or it just breaks PvP. Biblio wants to know if swamp snappers will go after fish AI to eat as well. as more natural behavior. Yeah, they'll aggro fish just the same as they'll aggro players. The swamp snappers will aggro pretty much anything. Aspen Fire would like to know, could the bio get their boop action with everything else in 1.3? uh, did Parrot pay you to ask me that? Are you Parrot's alt account? uh, yeah, so the bio does have a boop. It's it's totally useless and doesn't do anything. But Parrot. She wants me to put it in the game. I just haven't done it yet because it it doesn't do anything. It's just an emote that I have to code in. But I know there's a lot of players that want it. She wants it, so eventually I'll put it in. I just haven't done it yet. Could I reopen the RU server? The problem with that is that we are unable to um, get a server in Moscow. So we used to have a server in Moscow, uh, and we can no longer select Moscow as a location for servers. So we lost the RU server. It wasn't our it wasn't our decision. It was just the war in Ukraine and all that stuff, and how everybody was treating uh, gamers that live in Russia, and there's nothing we can do about it. So right now we have our EU servers, we have our Australia servers, and we have our US servers, and that's pretty much what we're going to stay with. Um, let's see. Hayes would like to know, is there any chance of making the dots on the map for each player smaller? Right now, when there's a lot of people hidden in the area, it's really hard to see. Whereas, yeah, I was in the game, and I was in a group, and I was like, these dots are really, really big. And yeah, so I'm glad you reminded me of that, Hayes. I'm actually going to put that in. It's really easy to do. I just got to change a number, and I'm actually going to put that in the 1.3 update. Um, I'm glad you reminded me because I think I forgot to put that on my list. Calico Songs Dragons would like to know if there will be more mini games other than fishing, like playing with balls or moss or something with hatchlings. Maybe. Um, we can always maybe add some more. Will there be more of the comic pages posted on Webtoons? Yeah, I think we post those 1 year after they've been on Patreon, and we took a break of doing the comic for a while, and then we posted a couple pages, and now we're taking a break again. And the break is my fault because it's hard for me to really focus on coding and also focus on writing at the same time. Because when I'm writing, it's like I'm coding, but I'm writing lore, and um, so it takes a lot of concentration, and so does coding and running a game studio. So I'm kind of like being pulled in a lot of different directions, and so when that happens, I have to like say, okay, I'm pausing this so I can work on this. And then when I finish working on whatever I'm working on, then I can go back to working on lore. Mickey Mouse wants to know if a futuristic question: are there plans to have this be a single player game as well? Back when the game first launched on the menu, there was a single player option. There originally was plans to have a single player self-hosted server, but as I got more and more into networking and building network for Day of Dragons and the server architecture, I uh, it got so complex that for me to just make a single player option is going to be a lot of extra work. So I took it out. And a lot of games, they do the easy thing first. They do single player, and because multiplayer is really hard, single player is really easy. Um, and then if you're trying to do a game that can do both single player and multiplayer, that's even harder. Um, so since our game is at its heart and at its core multiplayer game, that's what I'm focusing on. And I know people ask about console, and I'm not sure when Dave Dragons will ever come to console, um, because with console you have to try to get 30 FPS consistently in the game, or 60 FPS, and until Dave Dragons is optimized for PCs, you know, it's going to be. It's like, why am I pushing a console version if the game's not even optimized? And plus, with all the patches and updates we put out, it'd be a lot of extra uh, work for me to constantly be pushing out all these patches to Xbox and PlayStation as well. Do you have any plans after 1.5? Or are you going to wait until it gets closer to Planet? I have a lot of pending content. I just haven't given it numbers yet, so I don't know what is coming after 1.5. Um, as we get closer to finishing what's on the Trello, then we'll add more to the Trello. See, Crimson Starfall would like to know, did you think about the repercussions of the minigame for fishing when it comes to PvP? If you are stuck in the minigame just to eat when everything else can eat for free, doesn't seem fair. That is all stuff that needs to be tested, and we haven't tested fishing yet. EQ Flash, any plans on upgrading the servers or the tick rates? When you say upgrading the servers, I don't know what you mean, because we have our. If you play on Sanctuary or you play on um, Molten Mountain, you are playing on a 9800 X3D processor with 64 gigs of DDR5 5700 RAM. That is the highest upgrade that I can upgrade for those servers. So I don't know what you mean by upgrading the servers. They're already max upgraded. The tick rate is set at 20 FPS for the server, 20 hertz. And, that's the same that they have in Fortnite. You know, it's a very stable FPS for servers, and it's worked for us for years. I could up the FPS to 30, but that adds more stress on the servers, which creates more lag. My Maya Sasha would like to know if there's plans on adding ambience critters like birds, insects, to get a map for their alive looking. No need to be critters that dragons interact with, more like decorations. Yeah, like little shell moths and jellyflies and things like that. Um, yeah, I know we had some of that stuff um, before. I don't know if it's Like I know I put a lot of that stuff in like Cave of the One, or at least in the old cave, the bio cave that we used to have. Um, but yeah, I think that we'd uh, either if we don't have it in Forgotten Forest now, we definitely want to add that more in later, and as well as more sound ambience in the map. Um, I know Simon, our sound guy, he keeps uh, wanting me to help him to be able to put sounds in the different areas of the map, so we can add a lot more ambience. And I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Um, Asmerdis would like to know if there's hybrid special, or what the hybrid special ability is. Um, so the fire frost hybrid will be able to change between fire breath and frost breath. Um, and that's all we've confirmed so far. Ashley would like to know how far did we get through skin crafting before you switched to the Singe. I got through everything except the UI. I haven't designed the UI for it yet. All right. That is all the questions. And we've been going at this for 85 minutes now. So I hope that you all learned something today. And um, this is kind of like an impromptu Q&A where I just wanted to answer community questions because they've been building up. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and end this developer Q&A live stream for July 2026. Thank you all for joining, and Marley, thank you for running this stream. I was able to actually read every question because of your help instead of before where I'm like multitasking. All right, that said, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you all in our next developer live stream, where we not a Q&A, but an actual live stream where we showcase update 1.3, and you guys are not going to want to miss that because you're going to see some stuff that you already know is coming. You're also going to see some stuff that you had no idea that we were adding to the 1.3 update. We look forward to seeing you there.